It's a meeting of the Town of Norton Zoning Board of Appeals for May 27. It is 7:03. We're going to get the meeting started. I'm Tom Noel. We have with us tonight James Tenore, Alan Boulay, Paul DiGiuseppe, our Director of Planning and Zoning, and Nicole Salvo, our Assistant Director of Planning and Zoning, who refuses
the promotion.
Who's not turning her camera on. So, but in any event,
Tom, Dave's here too also.
oh, very good. Okay, and we have Dave Wren here as well.
Thank you.
Why don't I see? Oh, you're in the main frame. Never mind. I get you. I guess I have it set for whoever speaks is on the main picture, but I'll try to. There are different ways to set it up. So, right. Pursuant to the emergency orders of Governor Baker and the emergency declaration in the town of Norton, we're holding this meeting by remote means again, with reasonable access to provided by the public. I understand we're not on channel 15 right now because we've been bumped by a better selection of people. FinCom, Paul?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's okay. We provided means to dial in. Paul, is there anybody showing as attending by dial-in?
No, it's just the committee members as of right now.
Okay. I guess just let us know if somebody joins in.
Will do.
Because obviously the public has been invited to attend and may attend by a number of ways. We have a few items on the agenda that were continued from the last meeting. And as you recall, we kind of pondered aloud whether we, try to move forward with something this time around. But town council did issue a letter, which I think you got, members got yesterday, saying to basically hold on right now, that we could, but we haven't had communications with the applicants or anybody else at this point. We should probably discuss first a June meeting date. I meant to look for that or listen for that in the last meeting recording. Did we set one for June? I never listened to the whole thing last month. So.
I don't believe so. Nicole, can you confirm that?
I don't have a record of any June meeting being set.
Yep, it wasn't in the written minutes. I know that, and I meant to go back and listen because I thought we had, but I didn't go back and listen. I don't have anything. The week of June 15th is the week I'm going to suggest. I'm going to be tied up that next week most of the time, although Monday, Tuesday night, I might be available the 22nd, 23rd of June. But if we're doing it on a Wednesday, the 17th is probably my last Wednesday that month, although maybe the 1st of July is available too. But what does it look like for the rest of the members? Because we have to continue things tonight to the next meeting.
Looks okay to me.
What, the week of the 15th?
Yeah, so that would be the 7th. Yeah, it would be the 17th. Yeah.
Wednesday the 17th, I guess, is 3 weeks from tonight. Yeah. Anybody else?
Looks good.
I'm good.
Okay. Then why don't we mark our next meeting for Wednesday, June 17th. And I'll go through the items on the agenda.
Were you also planning to give July as well?
Yeah, well, why not? Yeah, you want to do that?
I think it's appropriate because we have applications that have come in.
Oh,
and we just want to be ready and
sure.
Have some dates available so that we can start getting notices out.
Is the 22nd, July 22? It's a Wednesday again. Is that acceptable?
Good for me.
Looks good.
Okay, so why don't we set July 22 for the July meeting date? You can go into August if you want.
We're on a roll.
Sorry, Jim?
Why not? We're on a roll.
August 19th should be okay.
Looks good.
This is Dave. It probably is, but I guess I really can't commit that far out. Just
Okay,
vacation.
well, if anything changes on any of these, I mean, I don't know July or August yet either, and I got to reserve that possibility too. So why don't we just put it down for now? So again, Paul and Nicole can plan for August 19th, Wednesday. Okay. All right.
Looks to me.
Now I can go back to the agenda. First is the application of 133 South Worcester Street, Roman Catholic Bishop of Fall River. It was continued at our last meeting to tonight. Is there a motion to further continue the meeting to our June meeting? I'm sorry, further continue the hearing to our June 17 meeting at, say, 7 o'clock.
This is David. I'll make that motion.
Jim?
Second.
Without further discussion, all those in favor? I've got to do a roll call vote, even though I can see you, I guess.
Roll call. Yeah, your remote participation.
Yeah.
So
Even though we can see us talking, but
Right.
sure. Mr. Tenore?
Aye.
Mr. Wren?
Aye.
And
Yes.
Mr. Booley, for the record?
Yes.
And vote yes as well. Okay, the next is the continued item of 15 Hawthorne Road. The applicant owner, Brian and Sue Redmond. Is there a motion to continue that hearing as well to June 17 at, we might as well say 7:02 p.m.
This is David. I'll make that motion.
Jim, I'll second.
Okay, without any further, assuming no further discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Wren,
Yes.
Mr. Tenore,
Yes.
Mr. Booley,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well, 7:02. And the last item is the 21 North Lakeview Ave application. Applicant owner is Donna Cabral. Is there that was also continued from our last remote meeting in April. Is there a motion to continue it further?
I'll make that motion to continue it forward.
May I suggest June 17th at 7:05? Yes, that's the motion. Okay, is second?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Assuming no further discussion, Mr. Wren, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Tenore,
Yes.
Mr. Booley,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. It's easier seeing you guys here in the gallery than just listening on the phone. Okay, so we've continued the three matters. Paul, we have other matters that have been that have come in by application.
yeah, we have you haven't seen them obviously, but we have an appeal of the building commissioner's decision. We have a variance. And of course we have two 40Bs out there, which are getting closer and closer to you. In fact, that one at 199 Mansfield, I believe that's the address. They just received their go-ahead from Department of Housing and Community Development.
Yep.
We will be meeting with them in about a week to see their application, and then they will be submitting the comprehensive permit.
When you say we meeting, who is attending that pre-submission?
It's staff. It's a pre-submittal meeting that we typically have on larger projects. So it would be myself, conservation director, building commissioner, water and sewer director, or superintendent, highway superintendent,
Yep.
town manager.
Do the selectmen attend that as well, or somebody?
No, it's a staff. It's an opportunity for staff to just, give their feedback as to what they would like to see. So fire
Yep.
department's involved as well.
Okay.
And then the purpose of it is to try to, address any issues up front before
Right.
it gets to you. So that's just part of it, but they'll have to submit and then we'll start scheduling
Right.
both of those applications.
So sorry to interrupt. For the two new non-40B matters, I have to look back at the order. I don't have it in front of me. I think the 100-day rule or the 60-day rule to open the hearing is also suspended, but I want to look back at that. So can you get the applications to us, I guess, and at least it'll have the date stamp, as to when they came in, so we can keep track.
Yeah.
I assume you're doing that, but
Yeah. We could certainly get those out sooner, much more in advance of the meeting, so that you can take a look at these, because these are much more detailed than the, variance applications you're used to. I mean, these are essentially site plan subdivision types of developments.
oh, I'm sorry. I was not referring to the 40Bs. I was referring to the appeal of the building commissioner. And
Oh, okay.
I was saying for those, I think the emergency orders cover those dates and limitations too.
Right.
But let's just make sure. So if we could get those uploaded maybe in the next week, at least a week before the next meeting, we'll at least know the application dates so we can keep a calendar of those. But I think the order does affect those dates as well. Obviously, everything's put off. I did ask Amy yesterday, are we still officially under the emergency order? Yes, there is still a state of emergency in the Commonwealth. So it hasn't been lifted yet. Once it's lifted, then we'll have to know, the dates that we're dealing with. So that's why I'm asking.
And in fact, they submitted it before their 30 days, even though I think their 30-day requirement from the date that Chris issues the letter
is also suspended.
Frozen, but my recommendation to their attorney was get it in now. We'll process it. We've got there's a couple little errors in it that Nicole's working with them on, but
okay,
we'll get that in and we'll get those up to you. I mean, one of the things I was hoping to talk to you all about tonight was some of these older applications that you've had.
Yeah.
Recall some of these came in before the governor's order went into effect, and town council just recommended asking them would they grant a 90-day continuance, and they did. But that pretty much gets us to June, the 90 days, because this was back in March.
Right.
And you recall from Amy's letter as well that I think the board has discretion if you wanted to hear these items. And I would suggest if you did that, we would notify the applicants that that there is a risk. It probably is a small one now, but there could be a risk of an open meetings violation should. You remember back when we first started with conference calling, people couldn't get in, right? But it doesn't seem to be a problem now. But we would probably advise them that, are you willing to take that risk right now?
Well, I thought one of the applications, and I don't want to single them out. I know it's not the church. It's not South Worcester Street. One of the other two, I thought at the last substantive meeting we had, we asked for a further plan or clarification. I'm thinking it is.
I thought it was Hawthorne.
That's
Hawthorne?
Yeah.
And I don't remember what it was, but I think, can Nicole go back over that and see what it was we were asking for? I'll try to do the same.
It was a detailed plan. I remember this was because of the issue of dealing with the building commissioner. You wanted to see a detailed plan of it. And I know, you asked them for it, but I do not. Nicole and I will look to see if that has come in, and if we haven't, we'll reach out to the applicant.
Yeah, I think last time you had said we hadn't received anything. I think you checked on that. So I guess what I'm saying is, if that's outstanding, we'd want to give the applicant some notice that we, need it in by a certain date.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be doing that anyway, say by the end of June or by mid-June, something like that. Even if we can't take it up at the next meeting, I think we have to communicate that, we're going to have to get going on this.
Yeah. Okay.
Just so you know, I was in today and I just being in there today, I went through the mail and some other things just to get organized again, and I don't have any new plans for them at this point.
Okay.
Somewhere in an email somewhere, but I don't have anything on my end.
We communicate with them by email?
We have before, yeah, so we can certainly send an email.
Yeah, we could.
We asked.
Sorry, Jim?
So I'm trying to remember what we asked for. I thought specifically.
Me too. That's why I want to go back and I don't even, I remember the plan, but I don't remember my notes on it. And I'll look too, but I think let's try to lock that down, Paul, and
Yeah.
the goal for what it is we're asking for. I mean, again, telling him that that any applicant has till a certain date during the emergency, I'm not sure we want to do, but we may want to prompt again to say, by the way, we're still waiting for.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And I'm not trying to discuss this substantively. I'm just saying,
Right.
getting it moved along, I think we should be ready to do because, you know, the emergency will be lifted eventually, we hope. And, you know, we'll have then, I guess, 45 days to bring things up to speed. I think that's how I read town council's letter.
Right.
So let's look at that informally off
Yeah.
meeting, okay? And then I think North Lakeview was a new application. So I don't think we even got to that yet.
Right.
But again, absent communication from any of the applicants, you know, asking us to move. Does anybody want to move on either South Worcester Street or Lakeview remotely by remote meeting? We again would have to tell them, you know, we will want to do it. Do you want to do it next time? Will we do it next time? You know, make sure the application's up to speed, and you'll have to Zoom in or telephone in, and probably give them the option, as Paul suggested.
I guess I was thinking Lakeview. I don't know the details, but that seems like something we could do remotely pretty comfortably, I think.
Okay.
South Worcester seemed rather involved.
Yeah, well, that requires the applicant's counsel, but also town council to further advise us, I think. And also the building inspector, I think we still need on Hawthorne Road. So I'm, you know, noting that too. But you're right. Why don't we make some communication to the applicant, Ms. Cabral, on 21 North Lakeview to give her the option of moving forward at the next meeting, though it will be, I assume, remote on the 17th. Paul, are you comfortable?
Now,
with that?
we can reach out to them. And then the other one I need to go back to my agenda just for a second. Then
The one we were talking about was Hawthorne Road.
Right. So that one, you had already started to hear that one. So wouldn't that one also be considered for the June to hear?
Yes, except that we had asked, I remember for a further submission. So my point is, we at least have to say, you know, we remind that applicant that we asked for something further, and we don't think we've received it yet. You know, what is your plan? If you want to proceed for the June 17th and have a hearing that night, we would ask you to, you know, submit your plan to us at least a week before then, because we also have to have Mr. Carmichael with us.
Right.
I assume he's available by Zoom or phone.
He should be.
Something else to consider in the future, even when we start opening back up, we don't have a lot of meeting places in town. Having to set up a room, social distance, 6 feet apart might not be possible for a while. We could be doing meetings like this for quite some time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Even with any orders and everything coming out, being able to meet in public, especially for those.
Well,
and anything that would draw a crowd that's when you're gonna have a problem with open meeting law and.
Right. And those 40Bs will probably be that. And
100%.
you know, we've had a number of planning board meetings on Zoom, and I think in a lot of ways it's actually better than the in-person. I mean,
Once
there's
everyone gets being able to talk down and not interrupting, and you kind of get in a flow, it seems, the more you do it.
Yeah. And I think if you're watching it on video, I think seeing it this way, you can hear better. And then you have the ability, applicants have the ability to share their presentation. So everyone can see it on the screen, then it gets picked up on channel 15.
If they're able to technically, if they know how.
Yeah, it's easy.
Okay, well, I haven't posted anything on Zoom. So
Yeah, but you could easily do a presentation.
Oh, yeah?
So.
Okay. Well, why don't we reach out to 15 Hawthorne Road and to 21 North Lakeview to see, I guess, first if they would be wanting to, pursue it substantively at the June 17th meeting.
Hey, Tom.
Yes, Jim.
So I pulled up the meeting minutes from February 26th.
Yep.
I can't remember if we approved these or not, so I'm not too sure they're approved. But
Yes.
In the minutes, it states the applicant for 15 Hawthorne. Applicant states that he located the structure to avoid the driveway, sewer, and water lines. Board would like to see copies of the applications and the permits originally involved when the house was built. I guess that's what we asked for.
Yeah.
I kind of thought there was something else in there that we didn't.
Well, we had a March meeting after that. Wait, was the March remote as well?
We continued it because I pulled up those minutes too. So
March was remote by then. That's right. So February was our last in person. Wow.
yeah. So, and it says we're troubled by the discrepancy between the plans and the actual structure.
Well, we can look back to that then, and maybe I should construct a letter to the applicant outlining that, and give him a chance to respond. Okay.
So it would have been the February 26 minutes.
Thank you. Thanks.
Sorry.
Jim can look up amazing things in his car. So.
Hey, I'm driving too, by the way. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Don't admit that. Don't say that publicly. I know you're not. I can't see the trees moving behind you. So. There's a light post or something.
Yep.
Okay. Again, that was just a procedural discussion, not substantive on anything, of course. So we'll see if the applicants are willing to do those two, and try to proceed on those anyway. Okay. And I guess we should also ask, Mr. Carmichael to verify that he's available that specific night.
Right.
Okay. And then you'll post the new stuff, the new applications or appeals that you've got, so we can take a look at those going forward. Yeah, the minutes of February 26 and March 25 were reviewed and approved. And I'm looking at the current minutes of the April 29 meeting. Okay, so next under general business, as Paul was just saying, we just got a letter dated yesterday. I guess it was emailed to us yesterday. Did the members get this letter, Paul? I'm not sure. To Brad Bramwell and to Daniel Markosh.
I haven't sent it yet. I'll do that.
It's one of the 40Bs that Paul was talking about. It says Ray Norton Crossing, Norton, Massachusetts. I guess that's the name that they've attached to this. And this is the Mansfield Ave project, I believe. And it's a letter of approval from the state housing agency to go ahead with the application. They've got to get approval from the state first. The ducks are in a row, and now they can submit an application to us, except I think, Paul, you were saying that there's a meeting next week with the staff.
Yeah, this is just their beginning. This is the state. Remember, with 40Bs, there's roughly 4 or 5 different funding agencies for 40Bs, because your other 40B is actually going through Mass Housing Partnership, not through Department of Housing and Community Development. So they're all a little bit different, and we're all, well, Tom, I know you've worked on them, but Jim, you may have too, but we'll have all of those. I'm still, I was trying to arrange training, 40B training from Mass Housing Partnership or Mass Housing itself, for it, which I think would still be advisable.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So you know what, I have the letter. I can email it, or Paul, you can email it right after the meeting.
Yeah.
To the numbers. It's just an approval letter from the state for one of the 40Bs to move forward with the application, which is what Paul was talking about a few minutes ago. This is under the Local Initiative Program, better known as LIP, L-I-P, for what it's worth. The other 40B, Paul, where is that located again?
250,
Three.
It's okay.
53.
That's all right. We'll deal with that as it comes. Okay. Then we do have the minutes from the April 29 meeting. Fairly straightforward. I emailed them out as edited yesterday. If you have taken a look at them or want to take a look at them now, say so. And we can make changes to them or approve them.
I looked at them. I was good with it. They're pretty
Is-
straight.
Is that a motion, Jim?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second? David?
I'll second it. I'm going to give Alan a chance there.
Any further discussion on the minutes of April 29? Without further discussion, here we go again. Mr. Tenori, how do you vote? To approve or not?
Approve.
Mr. Wren,
Yes.
Mr. Boulay,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Okay, I will sign them and get them to you, Paul and Nicole.
Okay.
So we are up to date in minutes as well.
Yeah, and I just sent everybody the letter from the LIP letter.
Okay. And again, the details aren't important, except just the process that's important to us. Just that's the signal that something's coming down the road and soon.
Yeah.
So Paul, keep us informed as to how the initial meeting go. Well, we'll ask you at the next meeting how the
Right.
pre-submittal meeting went. Then the other issue I have is the 40B rules and regulations. I've done a little work on those. It's not on the agenda for tonight. We should put it on the agenda for the June 17th meeting. Specifically, I will email out this in the next day or two, the version that I have now. Again, these were the result of work in 2014 and then council's changes in early 2015. And then I went back and looked at them, accepted all the changes in the versions that you saw, and made other pretty minor edits. What I saw when I was going through them is some of the languages, a lot of the language is pretty archaic, unfortunately, but when you go back and look at the statute, it's right from the statute. Whether we want to include all this stuff or not, I'd ask you to look at, but they are the rules that we're proposing, that applicants follow going forward after we adopt them. And some of it is clarification. Some of it is, as I said, our little archaic language, but I think council included it in there because it tracks the statute. So I'm going to email those out to you if we can put it on the agenda, and hopefully you guys can take a look at those before the next meeting. It's just a roadmap, and maybe it'll sync up with this LIP letter a little bit, if you read them both before the next meeting.
So in New Jersey, each town was required to have so much 40B set aside. Is that the same up here?
Yes.
So where is Norton in terms of their quota?
We are about, you have to get 10%. We are roughly 8 point something. So we're about 80 units short. So the combination, actually this project this one that they've received the lip would actually put us over the 10% until the census comes out.
Right.
And we have to see, because then the numbers get regenerated and recalculated. So
It's been a moving target because they're recalculated all the time.
yeah.
I don't know the last time we've asked for a calculation, from council or anybody else, Paul. We've been at 8% for a long time, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's I can give you the last thing Amy had given me, which was probably within the year.
Okay.
From the state. So
it's probably up to date since we've had no new 40Bs and since the census hasn't come out. So
well, we actually have a project. It's not a 40B, but it's under our Article 19, and it has Article 19 is an unaffordable housing element, and they're proposing 4 units, but I don't know if all 38 units count toward it. But they're going. They're actually next.
Where did I see that? Is that planning board?
That's planning board. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that I saw that in their minutes or in their agenda, and I wondered. So that's not under 40B, but they're proposing just a handful of affordable units,
right,
which would add to the total. Okay.
Right.
And that doesn't come before us, then. That's planning board.
Right. That's not a 40B. We have an article, a housing article that is 40B like.
Yep.
So you get some density bonuses out of it and some other things. So
okay.
But I'll get you the last housing.
But Jim, to answer the question, is 10%, and how it's written in Massachusetts is until the town reaches 10%, 40Bs can be applied for and are given this special treatment. I believe once 10% is reached, we have the option of fast tracking it or not. And I'm not even sure how that regulation has or has not changed over the last years, but
yeah,
10% is the magic ratio that we have been trying to achieve.
Right. Right. We have a lot of 40Bs, but they've never been built. In fact, this one that's going through chapter or Article 19 was Strawberry Fields.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's the same location?
Same location, right. But a lot less units than Strawberry Fields had proposed, but they never built it. So.
See, that's one. Strawberry Fields took us, I don't know how many meetings, but more than 10, maybe more than a dozen meetings over a couple of years, I think, with experts and town council help. It was approved with limitations, and then it was never built. And I think that was a good 10, 15 years ago. I think it just expired, actually, in the last couple of years.
Yeah, you're right, and I don't know who the owners were back then.
Right. But that's the frustration with the 40B prospect, because we do put in all the effort as we're required to do, by statute, and then the owner has so many years to build or not build, and after all that effort, they never built, and so our numbers never approached the 10% any closer. Right, Paul? I mean, that's right. Your understanding as well.
Right. If that doesn't change, then actually I'm going to email you the latest subsidized housing inventory.
Okay.
So I'll just do that right now. Just get it taken care of. And it was from November of 2019.
Okay, so very recent. Okay, good. Great. So take a look at that in conjunction with the rules and regs that I'll send you. And these are drafts. So I mean, it's up to us to formulate them and edit them, cut things out, add things. But they are what they are. Fairly dry, but educational. So read them over, and maybe we'll get to discuss them in some detail in the June meeting.
Do you want an email back and forth on those if there's anything?
Well, we have to discuss them. Actually, I'm not sure if we have. Sorry?
I'm not sure you do have to do it publicly. It's rules that you're debating, and it's.
Yeah, you may be right. Feel free. Yeah, absolutely. We can clarify with Amy, but that rings a bell that we can we can talk about rules outside of meetings. We have to
I think
we have to approve it, obviously, you know, publicly and put it out there. And I think we probably have to give a chance for comment, but sure.
But if there's something, I came across 2 or 3 things the other day, and I could have just as easily emailed you the question, or hey,
Great.
what do you think about this? Or you know.
We can ask, yeah, we can do it. We'll ask Amy. Okay.
Another thing, I don't know if that came up the other night. I did that training that Paul had sent out, and they went over for a little bit alternate members. And why I was hesitating tonight, alternate members, which I am obviously, participate in the meeting in full, but have no voting rights from what everything that was covered. So I shouldn't be making any motions or participating in the vote unless I'm, you know, one of the 3.
Yep. That's, I
I
mean,
was hesitant to speak up or not, wasn't saying anything.
no, I followed that for hearings, you know, on matters.
I thought it applied to everything. It said voting rights is what.
Oh, even procedural stuff like we were.
Well, it said was
Okay.
voting rights. That's how I took it.
Yeah. Okay, well, okay. In any event, you voiced your vote. It doesn't, you know, even if it doesn't count. I mean,
I just wasn't going to make a motion. Okay, I'm not that it would become a problem ever, but you know.
gotcha. Okay, thanks for reporting that out. Is there anything else, Paul, Nicole?
No, I think we're good. You have the minutes done, so
Okay, I'll get those to you and I'll email the rules and regs. And we'll look for the next agenda. That meeting's 3 weeks away, so a little quicker window.
we'll put those items up. In fact, we put everything, the entire application up even today, so we can just move those over, and any new
Okay.
material we'll just add to it.
Okay. And we'll check on the other 2 pending things in the meantime. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything
Okay.
else?
I don't
Actually,
mean
Mr. Chairman, I was going to say something. Going back to Alan's point regarding the alternate member, you know, I wonder if we should. So that's a bylaw change, not a charter change. So I think we all agree that we don't really like the concept of alternate members. We don't know the reason for it. So I just wonder if we maybe, of course, it's a long process, but I wonder if we should just start thinking about changing the bylaw regarding alternate members as it pertains to the ZBA.
It does seem like everything that I read and have seen, though, that alternate members are encouraged, especially for long things like comprehensive permits and things like that. You have somebody that misses a couple meetings. Theoretically, the alternate's attending, so there's no quorum problem.
Yeah.
That being the whole, us only having a 3-member board. If it was a 5-member board, quorum's a little easier. 3 is harder, obviously.
The difficulty was always getting, you know, 5 members plus. That's why I think we've stuck with 3. Look at the rule. Look at the rule, and certainly willing to look at it and talk about it. Yeah, I mean, more participation is better, of course.
It's I believe it's Article 10.
Yep.
I think so, but
I think it provides for either a 3 or a 5-member board in the state.
it does. The state law does, and the zoning bylaw went with the 3 and 2 alternates. And in fact, just as a reminder, we have a vacancy for the alternate. We have it advertised on the website. I know Nicole has advertised it on social media, but if you guys know anyone who's interested, they should submit a letter to the select board or the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
It'd be nice to get it filled again.
Yeah, it would. All right. Anything else? Jim, you had spoken up?
Yeah, and not to beat around the bush, but I just was sitting here reading about the 15 Hawthorne, the minutes. And it was, you were going to ask council something, so if you want to review those minutes.
I will.
You know, 'cause I
Thank
think
you.
we're going to talk to council about
Yeah, thanks. I will do that. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn at 7:43?
I will make the motion to adjourn.
Jim.
Is that a second, Jim?
Second.
Mr. Wren, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Tenori, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bully has taken us to school, so I guess I'm not supposed to ask him.
I don't know.
Tough, go away. But I assume you don't object to adjourning, so.
I do not, sir.
Yeah, okay. And I vote yes. So we'll stand adjourned until June 17 and look for the other communications in the meantime. Thanks very much. Thanks, Paul, Nicole. And nobody else is in attendance as far as we've seen, Paul?
No, just the board.
Okay. So we're adjourned. Thank you. Stay safe.
All right, have a good night.
Everyone,
Bye.
take care.
Thanks.